Hello, welcome to The Journey We Take, where we explore the paths we traverse in this life and the lessons we learn along the way. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Janelle Wells, and I'm your host. And if you've been keeping up with the podcast, you know that it's been quite a bit of time since I released a new episode, but I have officially returned from the hiatus, feeling restored and empowered to take on life with a renewed vigor. And that's pretty much what I want to get into. Life can be a whirlwind, pulling us in different directions, and that over time can often lead many of us feeling overwhelmed and drained. But for the sake of self-preservation, we have to listen to our bodies and minds when they're telling us to take a step back and take that little intermission. And that gives us a chance to disconnect from the noise of everyday life and visit that quiet place where we can listen to our hearts, just tune out the world and into ourselves. And that allows us to reconnect with ourselves on a deeper level. So if you find yourself feeling overstimulated, overburdened, or just straight up burnt out, remember that it's okay to take a little time for yourself, or however much time you need and can possibly take. Whether it's traveling to step away from the familiar comforts of home and just be immersed in new environments, or simply taking a pause to just breathe and do something reviving. Prioritize your well-being and allow yourself that space to grow and try to integrate your own needs and desires into your life. That potentially gives you time to explore what you actually really love to do and thrive in that. To be completely transparent though, I definitely struggled with the feelings of guilt when I was taking this little break from the podcast. I just remember having this feeling of shame come over me after I missed the first episode during that temporary absence. Because if you're anything like me, you can be a bit hard on yourself. And I guess because of that personal expectancy of constantly being productive and persistently achieving, I just grew very self-critical. And I guess I let the fear of letting others down and disappointing my audience get to me. And I just began to question myself and my abilities and pretty much everything. And I guess that's just a testament to how mean we can be to ourselves sometimes. And our thoughts can sometimes be our worst enemy. But I just let all these negative feelings internalize about productivity and success. But I recognized eventually that it's important for me to honor the need for self-care and take time to reflect. Just be more gentle with myself and celebrate my efforts and progress, even when they didn't necessarily meet my lofty expectations. Just that reminder I needed was just to give myself permission to recharge. And I think that's important for all of us to take note of, that it's necessary to protect our welfare, but it's also very beneficial for the quality of our work and life in general. And I think that's something we should all keep in mind, really. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, with that realization that I had. Because this day and age, we get caught up with this hustle culture that encompasses a large part of society. And I think that makes us prone to having a mindset that believes putting work at the center of life and sacrificing all other elements of it is the only way to achieve success, glorifying that hustle bustle lifestyle that ultimately deteriorates more important aspects that are left neglected. And if it's at the expense of your personal well-being, it may be time to consider slowing down or hitting pause. And of course, I'm aware working hard is necessary in order to carry out your aspirations and lead an accomplished life. But you ultimately make the determination at what cost. And if you're able to keep your composure with multiple jobs and still be fulfilled enjoying the fruits of your labor, then good for you. But I know that it's just this ultimate balancing act that we're all part of. The constant struggle of juggling our priorities and passions. But the fact of the matter is, you can't pour from an empty cup. And when you're basically running on nothing, you're going to break down eventually. And just to stretch that analogy out a little bit more in another sense, when you're going 100 miles an hour with tunnel vision, you can't appreciate the scenery. And you miss the enjoyment of life right outside your window, because deceleration translates to defeat, basically. And when taking a few seconds to watch a cloud pass through the sky feels like a waste of time, does social standards have you misconstrued? I don't know. Think about it. It's just, I feel like it's all about finding that sweet spot of work hard, play hard, where we hold ourselves accountable for our actions and commitments, of course, but also while showing ourselves the compassion and understanding that we would offer a friend. Just give ourselves grace and know that taking a break isn't indulgence, and it's not lazy. It's essential. Establishing that sense of balance is fundamental, and it looks different for everyone. But the point is, if you're feeling depleted, try to find at least a little bit of time to dictate to yourself and do what rejuvenates you and revitalizes that spirit of yours. Self-care isn't selfish. And taking a hiatus isn't about escaping from reality. It's more about rediscovering ourselves and just realigning with our values and aspirations. It's about nurturing our mental and emotional and spiritual well-being, and that then in turn allows us to just get back to our lives with that renewed energy, and that's important. Sometimes our tendency to strive for perfection can be detrimental, and the fear that anything less will lead to disappointment or failure can just really get to our minds. And when we hit a bump in the road or need to take a step back for a moment, those expectations can turn into harsh judgments and leave us feeling guilty for not measuring up to our own standards. And that was me at first. That's where I was. But as we all know, perfection is an illusion, and those expectations that we sometimes set for ourselves can be unrealistic and unattainable. So just know, if you're doing the best that you can, that is more than enough already, and that your best will look different from day to day. Life isn't linear, and that's really important to keep in mind. It's an unnatural standard, I think, to believe otherwise. That rush dance of the external world, I feel like, can make us get out of tune with our own rhythm, and we start moving robotically instead of freely, suppressing the need to loosen the grip of persistent formula. And when we're not rushing through life, and instead taking that step back every once in a while to appreciate where we already are, we're able to truly take in every moment and live in the present. And whether it's the simple joys of a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, or just the beauty of being outside in nature and letting it all unfold around you. Being fully in that moment is what allows you to savor the richness of life's experiences. And that's what it's all about. And that's the beauty of slowing down and taking the time to truly listen to the sound of our soul. We are better capable of understanding and finding that balance between productivity and rest, which is key to living a fulfilling and sustainable life. So as you go about your days, remember to check in with yourself regularly and give yourself the grace and compassion that you deserve. That's all I have for you guys on this episode today. I can't wait to share more that's in store. So you guys stay up to date on Instagram and all that good stuff on the website. Check it out. And I will catch you guys next time.